going to be doing a festival look today. So lots of glitter and sequins, and it's going to be really fun. And we're going to start by moisturising the skin. So I'm just using an Image moisturiser. This is the oil-free moisturiser, so it's really good before your makeup. It is also a sunscreen as well, so you do need to make sure that you moisturise it in really well. We're going to be using coral colours, pinks, purples, and lots of glitter and gems. I'm just going to go a bit crazy. Well, I'll talk you through everything step by step. But the good thing about festival makeup is that you can't really go wrong. It's completely creative, completely up to you. Just go for it. So always use a moisturiser at first. It gives it time to settle into the skin if you put it on first. So put that on first, let it soak into the skin. I don't like using a primer all the time, so it's always good to use a good moisturiser. We're going to start with the brows. I'm going to be using the Freedom Brow Pomade, and this is the colour Chocolate. And I am using a MAC brush, however they have discontinued this brush now because I thought I lost it the other week and I was devastated. But I did buy a Benefit one, which is really good. I'm going to be using the other side of the Benefit one just to brush through the brows anyway. So I'm going to start by underlining the brows. I'm not starting at the very front of the brows, I'm just starting part way in. And I don't want to use much product at all, as I want to keep the brows quite natural and fluffy. And I'm just brushing that product up through the brows. I think less product is more sometimes with brows. I'm just going to brush through them brows again just to soften them. So it's the NYX Tinted Mascara, and this is the colour Espresso. I'm just going to brush that through the brow hairs just to thicken them up. The base I'm going to be using is P. Louise base in the shade Rumour. So this I believe is shade number 2. And this is a MAC 252S brush. So I've just got the product right on the tip of the brow, tip of my brush, sorry. And I'm just doing little side to side movements underneath the brow. And you want to pull that product down away from the brow. Make sure you bring the base all the way out and all the way into the corner. And now we're just going to build this up over the lid. You just want to do a section at a time, building it up and patting it over. It's really important that you use a good base to give your eyeshadow something to stick to. And also your shadows will then go on true to colour. I do like using the 252S brush, even though it's quite large, it does get the product on a lot quicker. So again, using the P. Louise base on a 252S brush, I'm just going to do the other side. So little side to side movements under the brow. This is when you can really neaten underneath the brow as well. I'm pulling the product down away from the brow and building it up all over that lid area. I do feel like you need quite a bit of the base to build up the coverage, but they do last a long time. Although the tubes look quite small, they do last quite a while. I know they are meant to be bigger tubes now, so there will be 15ml instead of 10. So building that product all over the lid, it will go on quite wet at first, so you want to keep patting over it until it starts to dry. So keep patting over, it will set the base. You don't want to go in with your eyeshadow when the base is still wet and tacky. So if you get your client to keep their eyes shut now, because if they do open their eyes then it will crease. And I'm now just using a fluffy brush, so this is a MAC 217, just to blend out the edges. So the palette I'm going to be using is Morphe brushes, and this is the 35C palette. And I'm going to be using this bright pink colour here, and then also this peachy colour here. And all the brushes that I use for the eyes, 90% of the time, are from Zoeva. They do a really good eye brush set, which I'd really recommend. And this is a 231 Luxe Petite Crease brush. I am going to be using slightly more fluffier brushes than what I usually do, just because we're going to go for more of a smoked out look, very Stacey Marie inspired. Starting in that crease, building up the colour. The Morphe palettes are so good to build up all your bright colours. They're not expensive at all. I'm just building that colour into the crease. Once you feel like you've got the colour in the crease, you then want to add more. This will give you something to smoke out when you come to smoke it out. If you don't, and you come to smoke it out, then it'll have nothing to smoke out into. So make sure you add too much product than not enough. And then the same on the other side. So we're just putting this colour on the outer third of the lid and then into the crease. So I'm now using a Zoeva 228 with a bit of that same colour, and I'm just going to smoke it out. I always start with the darkest colour in the crease first. This never used to be this way around, it's only probably like the past year I'd say that makeup artists have started doing it this way round. And the same on the other side. That bit of the product on the brush, and I'm just going right over them very edges and then bringing the product out. Right, so using the same palette again, I'm going to use this peachy colour here. And I'm using another 228, Zoeva 228 brush. I'm just going right over them edges. Going back in again with a bit more of the pink. So I'm now alternating between my two colours, just to make sure it's all nicely blended together, so that we can see both colours. As I said before, it's really important to use enough eyeshadow. Don't blend and blend and blend when there's no eyeshadow to blend, because that's when you'll end up with holes in your eyeshadow. It's better to add more product and keep blending it out. Right, so I'm now using a flat 232 brush, and I'm just going to add this product further over the lid. I'm just going to fill in the lid before we put the crease. I'm just going to use a clean 227 brush just to go around the very edges as well, just to make sure it's all blended out nicely. So the P. Louise base in the colour Rumour, which I think is the most versatile colour, but I have ordered a light one and a darker one. And I'm using a MAC 252 brush again, and I'm going to be cutting the crease slightly different this time. So I'm going slightly higher at the front, and I don't really want a defined cut crease. I'm just patting the product on. So this is very Stacey Marie inspired. I don't know if you've noticed her, she's not really be doing a cut crease as such at the minute. It's more being cut slightly at the front and then blended out. So I'm just patting the product on. I'm going to wipe my brush off, and then I just want to make sure that base blends into the shadow. You don't want the base to just stop, because then your shadow will just cling to where it stops, and you want it to all blend nicely together. So I'm going to use that peachy colour again from the Morphe palette on the lid, and then we're going to put some pigments over the top of it. I'm using a Zoeva 234 brush. And then using the 232 Zoeva brush just with the pink, just to make sure them two colours blend together. So I'm going to start with the Peaches and Cream Pearl pigment, which is a whitey coloured pigment with a bit of pink to it. It gives it a really nice shimmer. And I am just going to use a bit of the base again, but I'm not using a lot this time at all. I just want to give that pigment something to stick to, but we want to be able to see the peachy colour through it. So really light with your pressure at this point. You don't want to put too much of the base on. So this is just a brush from the Anastasia Beverly Hills palette, so it is the one that you get with the palette. I love this pigment. I didn't pick this pigment up for ages, and then all of a sudden I feel like I've just discovered it. It just gives such a nice shimmer. So So I'm really pushing the pigment into the colour. You want it to stick to that base. And then we are going to use a tiny bit of the Peaches Makeup Mademoiselle pigment. So I'm just going to use this on the very inner corner bit. Well, middle bit, where the light colour meets the pink. Right, so we are just going to use a black shadow for the liner because we're going to do more of a smudgy liner. So I'm just using the black shadow from the Huda Beauty palette, and I'm using a MAC liner brush. I can't quite read the number, but it's quite a pointed liner brush. We want more of a softer, smudgy liner. And I'm not hardly putting any liner on the front of the lashes, just a really fine line, going thicker towards the outer corner. So if you do want more of a softer liner, more of a smoky liner, I always say use shadow. If I'm going for more of a fine liner, I will use liquid. I'm just wiping away the excess underneath. This is always why we do the eyes first. Want to be careful not to take away around this corner too much. I'm just going to use a fluffy brush just to blend over them edges. We're now going to use the Maybelline Eraser Eye in the colour Nude for underneath the eyes. So I love the peel away base for the top, but I do like more of a more moisturising concealer for underneath. So this is why I use the Maybelline one for underneath the eyes. Making sure you've got a good coverage, but then it blends away into nothing. Starting with the bright pink from the Morphe Brushes 35C palette. I do use a tissue at this point. One, to prevent further fall down, and two, your concealer will still be quite tacky, so it does just stop your leaving fingerprints in the concealer. Now we're going to blend this out with a Zoeva 235 brush, and we're going to use that peachy colour that we used before. I do want to join this up now to the outer edges. And now just using a clean fluffy brush, just to blend that all away. And then we're also going to add a bit more of the Peaches Makeup Pearl pigment underneath. It just changes the colour of the shadow slightly. And I'm just using a Zoeva 221 brush, just a fluffy eyeshadow brush, just to lightly dust that over. So the colour that I'm going to be using in the liner and on the lips, it's a Jouer liquid lipstick, and this is the colour Daiquiri. So it's a really nice coral colour. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit more of that bright pink colour underneath, just to make sure that coral stands out. And this is a Zoeva 226 smudger brush. The lashes I'm going to be using are the Tatti lashes in the style TL4. It's just these ones. These are one of my favourite ones. I love the TL4 and the TL3. If you bend the lashes around, like that, then they'll fit to the eye a lot nicer rather than being straight. So always bend your lashes around a bit so they curl round. So I always place the lashes on with the tweezers and then push them in either side. It is actually easier to get them on if someone's got individuals on, as long as you can get around them, because they do sit on top of them. I'm going to use the primer for the Fenty Beauty foundation first. This is a really matte foundation, but it is good for heavier looks. I wouldn't recommend it day to day. I am a big lover of the Studio Fix, but it does look amazing on camera, so more night out, heavier makeup, it's perfect. We're just going to make sure that we use a lot of the primer to make it a bit more moisturising. The Fenty Beauty foundation does dry pretty quick, so we're going to use a little bit at a time on a beauty blender. Being careful not to go too close to the eyes. Also blending down the neck. However, we are going to use the MAC Face and Body foundation on the chest. A beauty blender is damp, so I always swear by the actual original beauty blenders. So rather than placing the foundation all over the face, like I usually do with the foundation and then blend it in, I do a little bit at a time. Being really careful around the brows and around the eyes. We are going to use a smaller brush in a second to get around the brows, around the eyes and around the nose. The colour 290 in the Fenty Beauty Foundation, which I'd probably say is the equivalent to MAC NC35. So I'm just using my 252S brush to go around the nose and around the brows. Just going to perfect before we move on. So I'm just going to go around with the foundation, and I'm going to go around again with a little bit of concealer around the eyes, and then we'll blend out the eyes again just to make sure it's all blended out nicely. Put a bit of mascara on. So just blending around with the peach colour again. Just look up for me, honey. And this is a Zoeva 228 brush. Make sure it's all blended out nicely on the edges. And then also using a tiny bit of the pearl pigment again. Right, so we're just going to put the mascara on. So I'm going to use the Maybelline mascara just for the bottom lashes, just because Kira's got individuals on the top, so you never want to put mascara on top of individual lashes. I'm now just going to put the Barry M Liquid Chrome on Kira's chest, and then we're going to use the MAC Face and Body Foundation. It is the first time that I've used this Barry M. I've heard that it's a good dupe for the Iconic, so we're going to give it a go, just to add a bit of glow. I'm going to wet my beauty blender a little bit more. And now we're going to use the MAC Face and Body Foundation in the colour C4. Just blending up to the neck, tapping that on with a beauty blender. You don't need loads of this, it just evens out your skin tone. So I'm just now going to highlight. I do love the Doll Beauty highlighters, but I think we're going to use a different one today. More of a pinky whiter highlighter. So I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Glow Kit in Glam, which I haven't picked up for ages, but we're going to use Starburst and a bit of Crushed Pearl. And we're now going to use, for the highlight, we're going to use a Morphe Brushes M330 brush, so just a fluffy brush to do the highlighter. We're just highlighting them cheekbones. I do find with the Fenty Beauty foundation as well, when you put a highlighter on top of it, it really pops. It goes on so smooth. So we're just making sure all the skin's perfected before we then add all the glitter. This is why it takes so long to do festival looks, because it is a full makeup look before you then even start adding the glitter. Right, so now to contour, we're going to use the MAC Mineralized Powder in the colour Dark. And we're just using a MAC Big Fluffy brush. Just bringing this up from the top of the ear and pulling it down. So we are going to add a little bit of blush. I'm not usually a fan of blusher, but I am starting to quite like it again. I like ones that are have got a bit of shimmer to them. So this is the Mineralized Blush from MAC in New Romance. So a mineralized blush, just on them cheeks. The lipstick colour is going to be the same as what I've used in the waterline. So it's a coral lipstick from a company called Jouer, which I absolutely love their liquid lipsticks, and it's called Daiquiri, and it's got a really nice metallic finish to it. We're going to start with the glitter. I'm going to be using one of the Tatti lashes glitter glues that you get with the eyelash glue, and we've actually made up our own glitter. So So this is the glitter that we've made, so nearly tipped it all over you then. So it is just mostly little ones from here that I've got. So these are just off eBay. And then I did use a little bit of this one, which is from a company called In Your Dreams, which I got off Asos. And also a little bit of the Iconic Platinum glitter as well. All mixed in there. I'm just going to get the glue on my hands, and I'm going to be using a Lychee SX01 brush, and I'd really recommend everyone to get this brush. It's an actual glitter glue brush, so it's not going to ruin your brush putting glue on it. And I'm going to do a little bit at a time, so I'm just going to place it around these corners here. So we're just piling that glitter on. So we're going to use that glue again. I don't like these glues that look a bit blue. I don't like them for sticking eyelashes on. They are really sticky, but they are good for keeping gems on, keeping glitter on. If you're doing a full glitter pigment on your lid, then I'd use one of these. I'm just piling that glitter on. So this glitter is just a mix of loads of different ones that I've put together. There's a bit of orange in there, a bit of pink, a bit of silver, a few stars. You want really fine ones, and then you also want really chunky ones. That's what gives you a really mixed effect. So now we're going to put some on the chest as well. I'm just dabbing the glue all over the chest. So I'm just dusting over the Pearl Pigment from Peach's Makeup. We have got some more gems to stick on. Of course, you can never have enough. So we're going to use the Gypsy Shrine gems, and these are the Candy Kiss ones. And I also got these off Asos as well. They do come on a strip, so you can pull them straight off the strip to put on. And they are really sticky, so they will stick on. There we go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll take it off so you can have a closer look.